Yo. GGP already? Yeah. Welcome to the space where the truth gets spoken. Trap snares popping, hands up, energy open. Where the chains get broken and the culture stays golden. We move with grit, say grit. Grit. We rise with grace, say grits. We push for progress. 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 No justice. No sleep. Snare snapping. Keep that bounce alive. Unapologetic, black, unfiltered, unshaken. We the future in motion, history in the making. Let's go! Every step, every voice, every beat that we speak. We the rhythm of the people rising week after week. From the block to the ballot, the mic to the streets. We bring fire to the system till the mission's complete. Turn it up, let it hit, let it rise in your chest. This is power, this is purpose, yo, we won't rest. So lean in, tune up, let your spirit digest. This is grit, grace, and progress. Progress, progress, progress. Yeah, feel that, hold that, let it settle in your soul. Grit, grace, power in the place. Grit, grace, and progress, say it. Grit, grace, power in the place. Grit, grace, and progress, say it. Grit, grace, and progress, say it. Grit, grace, and progress.
Welcome everybody on Grit, Grace, and Progress. This is your boy Mars coming at you from Dallas, Texas. Today's show, we're going to confront how power decides whose voices are respected, whose suffering receives urgency, and whose lives are treated as expendable. First, we unpack the National Association of Black Journalists 2026 Thumbs Down Award announced in Atlanta. NABJ President Errin Haines called the recognition more than a rebuke, called it a call to do better after Stephen A. Smith, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, CBS News, The Washington Post, Circle City Broadcasting CEO DuJuan McCoy were named. Smith's recognition centered on NABJ's stated concern about what it called a reoccurring pattern of disparaging commentary about prominent Black women. We also examined Smith's profile, public response, and what accountability looks like when Black institutions challenge influential Black voices. And there's an article in our description from Yahoo News. You can read up on that. And then we trace how enslaved Black bodies were leveraged as financial assets to help build American wealth, and ask why Black suffering is still too easily normalized or minimized. Finally, we examine why the war with Iran should concern every American. Its human toll, its effect on family budgets and public priorities, and the danger of choosing permanent war over hard diplomacy. This is a conversation about truth, memory, responsibility, and the work required to build a nation where Black lives were never treated as collateral. So we're going to come up with this first topic. Computer acting up. We're going to come up with this first topic, accountability in the Black media. I'm going to bring up my panel here. I got E.B. Smith. Take this thing down here. We got E.B. Smith here. We also are going to have Greg Battle. Then we have my man Lawrence. He made it in the house. Get everybody up on the screen here.
Right on. What's up, Lawrence?
What's up, y'all? As we always start off, find out how everybody doing. So what's been going on with you up here, EB?
Same thing, man. I got some new ventures. I signed a partnership agreement this week.
Awesome.
We're doing some things with some scholars and things like that. So I'm really excited about the next phase.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. What about you, Lawrence?
Moved, so still unpacking. While I'm unpacking, I'm trying to unpack some of these pounds. So that's why I was running late. I was out here trying to get a run in this 104-degree weather.
Right. Well, it's definitely hot out there, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg?
I've been on spiritual journeys here, kind of reassessing my situations, because regardless of how I feel, I'm still called to be part of my family and do what's right by them, and hold our family community together by example, not by words.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. My week's been pretty cool. It was kind of busy last week at work. We had a pop-up. Our church, we are building a new church in my community. And we had one of our pop-ups. We've been doing it every month since Easter. And this was one of those months that we're doing it. October, we're going to go every week. The building is projected to be completed by the end of, I think, August of 2027. It said between Easter and August. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to go. But anyway, it's, you know, it is like, what do you call it? You know, setting up every week and tear down. You know how hard that is on your body when you're over 50.
I did that three times with 3 different churches. I understand.
Yeah, I know what it's like. So that's what it's been like for me. I'm not sure if Bria's going to join today, but we always love to hear her voice and her opinions, her commentary, her knowledge. She brings those hard facts, and she brings it from that woman's perspective that with a table full of men, you know, sometimes that's a lot of times, I say not just a lot, most of the time, it's very much needed to have that that other perspective. But we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to play this video from the NABJ, and just going to kind of set the table for how we basically check each other.
Owns media, who controls news.
My fault. Sorry about that. Remove that down here. Put her video back up
or
in there.
Corporate interference shape what stories get told, whose experiences matter, and whether journalism can hold powerful institutions accountable. Eliminating journalists and subject matter expertise weakens journalism's ability to serve the public and hold power accountable. The theme of this week has been Our Revolution: Truth, Power, and Black Journalism. We cannot spend an entire week talking about truth and power and then become timid when it is time to tell the truth to power. Press freedom does not erode by accident. Editorial standards do not bend themselves. People make decisions. Executives make decisions. Government officials make decisions. Companies make decisions. The conversation is available and the opportunity to change is real. But NABJ will not be silent. Not in this moment and not on my watch. There can be no revolution without accountability. There can be no accountability without courage. And there can be no Black journalism that is worthy of its history if we are afraid to speak truth to power.
Amen.
So that was Errin Haines, president of the NABJ. Did any of y'all catch up on any of the commentary on that at all? You see the videos or any clips on that yesterday over the weekend?
I did.
What were your thoughts on that, EB?
I don't even drink, but I started to get drunk after I saw that. I think Stephen Smith. I would love to see what the worst can happen to a journalist who's so full of himself.
Got you.
I am waiting for the most aha, I'm Black moment in American history to happen to him, because nobody deserves that more than he. It's one thing to be entertained. She mentions a couple things here. Truth, speaking truth to power. That's what creates that courage. Speaking truth to power. When you speak in truth because somebody has power over you, that contradicts the phrases, right? That contradicts the need to have a free press. Stephen Curtis, whatever his name is, I always mess his name up. I always called him Stephen Curtis Chapman. I ain't gonna give him that much credit to be a Christian singer, but I think that in his monologue, most of the times, he intentionally goes after Black women that are popular. He won't go to and educate you about women that are doing something in the community that maybe needs a lot more publicity. He specifically goes after people like Joy Reid and Jasmine Crockett, people that can bring him attention. That means to me, he is using their prestige to bring him power. And that's similar to what the other side does to us all day long.
Right.
So he deserves to dumb down.
So I got a question for y'all then. When a Black institution publicly challenges a prominent Black commentator, does that strengthen the community standards or create harmful division? Or should we be responsible for defining accountability? Or who should be responsible for that? What you think about that,
Who you trying to impress? Who you trying to impress? The governance structure, who we are to each other, says that I should speak truth, period,
Right.
whether you're in power or not. And I should call it as I see it. Now, if you're trying to deal with the social structure, who we are to other people, everybody got an opinion about what a black person is supposed to do. I've lived with that all my life. But it's who we are to each other that continues to reshape, reform, re-evolve our communities so that even today in 2026, we still know how to navigate and dissociate from things that don't mean anything. Now, you can go chase money if you want to. You'll always find some white folks that'll pay you money, especially if you want to do the dance they want to see.
Right.
But if you're trying to take care of the babies to come, how I was taken care of, then it's about standing on truth and backing my family, who we are to each other.
Okay. So what about you, Lawrence? Like, who's responsible, or does it? I'm not even gonna go with the who's responsible part. Does this strengthen us by checking somebody like Stephen A. Smith in that situation?
Two things can be right at the same time. Yes and no. I think in this situation, I have struggled with my relationship with Stephen A. Smith, and I don't have a relationship with him. It's just I have this love-hate with him.
Yeah.
And I try to listen to his side when he comes out and does his apology videos and stuff like that. And I really sit there and I watch and I listen. And I know he does a lot of good things outside of sports and entertainment and politics for the Black community that is not known in the public. Unfortunately, it's what you say and what you do and how you respond and how you treat the community at times is what everybody sees. And once you start acting crazy in public, then it kind of deletes everything that you've done good behind closed doors. Great, you've done those things. But as Kerry Champion and Jamel Hill, they have pointed out in other interviews that they didn't feel protected by him, you know, when they were with ESPN. So it's not like this is a new thing with him. This seems like this is a pattern. And I don't know his dynamic with his family and, you know, his dating life, because he keeps all that stuff private. So I don't know his relationship with other Black women. I just know what I see and what I hear, and it's not looking good.
Right. No, I agree with that. I know I look at, like, for Stephen A. Smith, I feel the same way as you. I'm troubled. Like, I just skip past First Take a lot now. I just skip past it. I'll find something else to watch. But I look at, you know, I used to like Stuart Scott a lot back in the day. And he was very, you know, he was genuine. But, you know, the difference was that he was one of those guys that they say, like, you know how the other side say, oh, you're one of the good guys. You know, you're the good one, because he was palatable to them. Well, when you have two types of people when you look at media. You're going to have the palatable person that make the status quo comfortable, and then you're going to have that one, the Stephen A. Smith, that you will say he's going to be the clown or the show, the joker, the act. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to come at you like he's the you know that palatable person. So you're going to have the two types. It's hard to find that intermediate person, and then those are the two they're going to keep. The one that they always have trouble with is a Ryan Clark type that just keep it real 100 all the time. So those are the ones that you're going to see removed and hard to replace that commentary that they give, because they're so raw and so real. I mean, we can go all the way back to watching Arsenio Hall. Everybody used to love the Arsenio Hall show. It was like one of the top nighttime shows. He kept it real. He kept the culture involved. And the thing about it is that when he did interviews, you got authentic interviews. It wasn't a fluffed over interview by a Black person that he was interviewing. And when they're removed, you haven't seen anything like that again. But we've seen 1,001 Jay Littles, Dave Letterman, Johnny Carson, Stephen Colbert,
Jimmy Kimmel.
They're all the same. You're only going to have one Arsenio Hall. not because he was black, because he had the personality and the character to be real all the time. And so when I look at Stephen A. Smith, I looked at him as being authentic and real, but over the last, say, 10 years, I see more of a person who's trying to keep his money coming in, but also try to balance out different sides of the social spectrum or the cultural spectrum. And when you try to balance that out, you either lose yourself trying to appease those, like I said, the status quo, or you become a villain to your own community because they know that you're being fake. And that's what I see.
That's
I mean,
what you get played into social media, that algorithm stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think as a father of daughters, and I got the same amount of sisters, and I think it bothers me that he can do all of that. I mean, he can play to the camera because most of them do. I think the problem I'm having is one of the most criticized demographic in this country is Black women. When Kamala ran for president, they weren't criticizing her policy. They were criticizing her prosecuting as a prosecutor people in California.
Mm-hmm.
They were questioning her degree and all of those things, right?
Even her marriage. And so when Stephen Smith go down that pathway, to me, all of the rules change, right? If this was coming from a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white person on TV or something, we kind of used to that, even though we don't like it. We kind of used to it. But coming from a Black man that actually had a Black mother, that bothers me. It bothers me because we know it's intentional. He is not doing it by accident or the news came across while he was watching. He's had plans. He's got talking points. And he is personally attacking these women and saying things that he don't even have to say to get the prestige that he needs. All he needs to do is give his commentary about it and move on. But he just doubles down on it. It's almost like we're watching a Black version of Donald Trump. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And the other sad thing is, he has a daughter. He puts her on the show every now and then, and I think
it's 2 daughters.
He has 2. But in our community, that's what we always want to see. We want to see a present father that is there for their daughters or sons or whoever. So another positive that is like, well, he has that. We'd like to see a successful Black man or woman on TV representing us, as we like to see. Another positive thing, but he keeps stepping in the crap with his mouth. And here's the thing: it's too late, because I honestly think this was our own creation, and it's not us. I think this is his inner circle's creation, because I think over time people were, I don't say afraid to tell him that he's going too far with certain things that he either thought or said behind closed doors or on TV. He always had the tit for tat battles with the athletes when he would say something, and then they would, say something about him on social media or something like that. But I think this didn't just happen overnight. This is something that has been, and the problem is it's too late. Once you've gotten too big and so much money and so much prestige and so many people telling you how great you are, it's hard to have a mentor that you can lean into and be like, and bounce things off before you open your big mouth. And here we are. He's at that point where I don't think there's anything anybody can say. And I wish there was a way that some of these sisters or another male figure, Black male figure, can pull them to the side and say, hey, bro, it's a better way to do this. I understand your point, but why don't you try calling one of these ladies first before you open your mouth about them? Figure out their side of how they feel about what they're talking about or their political views or whatever before you start just pointing the finger at them, because this honestly ain't your job. This is not your job. Your job is, did the Knicks win? Did the Lakers?
Almost forgot about that, Lawrence.
I am. Right. Yes. Yeah. So that is your job. Stay in your lane. And I hate to sound like the just dribble the ball and shut up. I mean, he has a right to have his opinion, but once you start crossing certain lines, it's just at this point, like, I can't even respect anything you have to say on the sports side or the political side.
Do you think
that's what society has always done to keep us fractured and coming together? watched Nubia and Refill, and those of you who know, you know. But it was a movie made in 1938 about Joe Louis, and it had to deal with women and Black women. And Joe Louis' responsibility to his family, to his mother, how you treat your mother will show a woman how you treat women.
Right.
I mean, that's something that they pass from woman to woman.
Right.
And you look at the kind of man that a woman picks. You know, my father's instructions to me as a young man, I'm going to start dating, to make sure you return that girl to her home.
You're breaking up here, Greg. You're breaking up here a little bit. Yeah, so like when I look at Stephen A. Smith, I look at his I look at all this right now as branding. It's branding. And he just captured over the last 10 years a whole new demographic of followers. Excuse me. People couldn't stand Stephen A. Smith because of his defense of the Black culture. And the way he's going after things now, he's grabbing a whole new demographic.
Well, they sure love him now, then.
Yeah, they love him now. So that's what I'm saying. It shows you who's real and who's not, and who does it for a certain amount of money.
Follow the money.
Yeah, I mean, for real though. I got a comment here. So that was Greg there. I don't know who this is. Hey, Baba Change. I'm not sure who that is.
John Gay. That's me.
Oh, that's
I'm John Gay.
Oh, my
and
bad.
That must be. Yeah, that's Norvell. He knows.
Okay,
he knows.
Gotcha.
I've been sharing in the background, trying to get some people.
Hey, Norvell, welcome to the show. I'm glad to see you checking us out. Appreciate that. And everybody out there, please go ahead and share the links, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube. Just share our links out there. Subscribe, join our pages, because we want to continue to keep this moving. We have some really good conversations. But that's what I feel about it. But I'm going to let y'all check this out. This is Stephen A. Smith's response to everything that's going on.
BS. And I get a lot.
Why does it do this to me every week, man? That was the other lady's video, right? Yeah.
You didn't clear that out.
Yeah, I thought I did. Let me just remove it out. Move it out all the way, and now bring Stephen A. back in here again.
BS. And I get a lot of people want to pile on and they want to jump on it because you have your own individual feelings about me. I'm here to tell y'all are entitled to that. Not the NABJ. You're not entitled to that.
Yeah, they are.
This is me we're talking about here. I am the same guy that brought a nationally televised show to a journalism conference, which is the NABJ, the last 2 years. Did you have anything to say about me then? Did I get a thumbs down then? First Take, a nationally televised show, which has been #1 for 14 straight years.
And that's how it clicks off, huh? 14 straight years.
Yeah,
now,
what does he sound like?
He's so hurt.
He sounds like of all I've done for you.
Yeah.
That is not gonna go well. One thing that I love about the sisters in our culture, they can sift through all the Cadillacs and earrings and gold necklaces you bought them and call you out when they need to. Mm-hmm. And so I think he's frustrated because he thought that fluff was going to be enough to make everybody excuse his ignorance. All he had to do, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the term, is shut up and dribble. And we would not be talking about him. At least if the criticism we have would be fair. Could be talking about maybe he can talk about WNBA stars and stuff like that. We probably would even be on the conversation. But now he went over into people that's in our culture saying things about people in our culture and expect us to let him get away with it. Sorry, buddy, you ain't doing enough for the community to take all of that. Sorry.
Okay, hold up, Lawrence. Let me ask this question before you get to that point. As you give your point, Lawrence, answer this question. Do the NABJ have the right? He says they don't. Do they have the right to cancel him like that or give him the thumbs down?
I am going to give a very unpopular response. Let me just say that now. Again, two things can be right. This is what we're talking about is, to me, a personal feeling that we have about this person and who he is as a person and as a journalist. A personal feeling. Now, based off what I don't like the fact he's pulling out the receipts. But again, we cannot deny that these things will go, like even having the show go to HBCUs all across the country and putting some of these smaller schools on large screens and having them shown nationally. Some of these players would never get that type of exposure. Now, do I like what he does and how he says things? I do not. But again, there is so much good that he can provide and that he does, that when he shows his tail and he does the other thing, it wipes all that away. And so I truly struggle with the Stephen A. Me and Stephen A. I hate to do this. My wife probably would be like, boy, shut up. But Stephen A. and oh my God, and Judas, to me, are the same. I struggle with both of them to hate or love them. Judas, to me, had a bad day. He made a bad choice. There's no way he did not walk with Jesus all that time and not really believe. He just had a bad day. I look at it that way. And I can forgive a bad day. I'm sure Jesus can forgive a bad day.
I'm so glad you called
because the other good thing is, by Judas doing what he did, guess what? What does that do? Reverend over there, my fellow deacon, if Judas doesn't do what he do and Jesus doesn't sacrifice for us, then we don't have everlasting life. Now,
No, you're true.
if Stephen A., okay, and these are two vastly different people, but Stephen A. in some way has a little bit of that where he does something that is so egregious, but then there's something behind that helps so many other people that we don't see, that we don't hear about, that we don't know, that it just makes it hard to root for somebody like that. And I'm telling you, up until last year, it dawned on me about Judas. I was like, oh, hold on. I had to think about me as a person, not being the best husband all the time, not being the best father all the time, definitely not being the best Christian all the time. Who am I? And this is in the Bible. Yeah. Who am I to cast the stone if I can't? Now, do I agree with Stephen A. and how he moves? I do not. But do I low-key root for him a little bit to make it, and that one day he realizes, because you can tell in that rebuttal, you can tell he a little hurt.
Yeah,
you can tell this every time I see him respond, I look at him, I'm like, he's a little hurt because he realizes I do a lot. I don't understand. He truly don't understand. He really does not understand.
Or he would try not to understand.
Yeah. And maybe it's just a conversation that somebody needs to have with him, and you just need to keep dialing it in with him. But I struggle.
It's not about what you do. It's about who you are.
I know. But
Jesus,
I struggle.
Jesus knew all of his disciples before he called them. He knew what they were going to do.
Right.
And we know who Stephen A. is.
Anyway.
Now we know who Stephen A. is.
We know who Stephen. He's always been that.
But do we want to run the risk of those things, those little things that we don't see and we don't hear about, that help push other black people, black, brown, indigenous, all these other people that get an opportunity to win when he pushes them towards the front, right? There's an opportunity there for,
but they win with
I don't even like Ryan Clark is as good as he is. There was still somebody that had to vouch for him, and unfortunately, that person that we're talking about, we would have never seen the greatness of Ryan Clark be who he was for all those years for ESPN, and now what he's doing on his podcast.
Well,
Like, there's always a beginning to something. It's not always pretty. It's not always pretty.
Here's the problem with that, though, Lawrence. If Stephen A. Smith was white, would we be giving him that much
Oxygen.
If you wouldn't be saying those things about him? Here's the problem. That is the argument that the liberal white people say when we criticize them for doing the dumbest things that causes problems in our society. And Malcolm X said one time, sorry, I can't quote it directly, but one of the worst group of people in the country is the white liberal, because they think you owe them something when they do something for you. Mm-hmm. That is Stephen. Right. That's him. Yeah. He thinks just because you'll do those things. Look, if my kids get straight A's for 2 years and come home with a stolen car in the driveway, I'm not going to ignore the stolen car in the driveway. I'm not going to ignore that he cussed out the teacher because he had a bad day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to come down on him so hard, he going to think he never got straight A's.
Right.
He does not deserve to get the benefit of the doubt because he did something. Because what I'm thinking now, what he's doing is he's throwing up fluff because he wants to be excused. If it's any organization that needs to, since he thinks he's a journalist, even though he's not trained as one, I think he got a privilege by being even recognized at all by an organization that before he became in sports, he wouldn't even thought of being a journalist.
I think he was a journalist, wasn't he? Did he go to school for journalism?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, he went to school for journalism.
Now my thing is this, and this I don't want to talk about him all night, but
yeah, we got to move on a little bit.
This is honestly, if we look at it, this is family business, and I wish we would pull each other to the side and not have these, because what it does, it shows a chink in our armor. And it shows a untogetherness that we don't want to show. And this is one of those times, again, he has value for the community. I don't want to ignore, the fact that, yes, he is problematic, but he also has some value. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to ignore that. But I wish there was a way that this stuff can be kept in-house. We have these adult conversations with each other and we keep it moving. But all this online bickering and thumbs down, and what won by this? Because let's say he's been doing this NABJ, and bringing them, some limelight. So now, what happens next?
Well, they may not get
that. Yeah, they may not get that again now. So what benefit was that?
It's no excuse.
What was the benefit? I'm just saying, what was the benefit?
Sorry, man.
Two things. Benefit was that because he was scrutinized for what he's been doing, that was another high. This 2 years in a row that the NABJ has gotten a spotlight. It was Donald Trump, and now it's Stephen A. Smith. So their recognition or what they stand for has increased, and more publicity has come out of it. But the thing about it is that we have to, when we look at Stephen A. Smith, it's like anybody, like you said, you got, he's a criminal, he's a villain, and he's a hero at the same time, as Lawrence would say. I mean, we could say the same thing right now about Luke Skywalker. He's running for Senate, you know what I'm saying, or as a Congress or a Senate. But the thing about it, if it wasn't for him back in the days when he was singing all that filthy rap, with all the profanity. But think about it, he pushed past a lot of these First Amendment laws.
Yes,
and also he's had different laws about racism going through different states that they were attacking them with. So, I mean, he won a lot of court cases. So now you look at him now running for city, you're like, wow, he do know how to fight for the people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's a villain.
I can't give you applause for doing what you're supposed to do.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
that.
I
mean, it's Stephen A. don't get applause.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What he did for the NABJ. He doesn't get applause for that.
No, two things can be right at the same time. I'm saying a person has made progress in a sector here, and he's also is not being responsible for the platform that he's holding, if that makes sense. So that's why I say two at the same time. But I do want to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about America's economy, Black suffering, and the urgency for accountability. So right now we have a video with Latasha Brown. She was on the Jamal Bryant's podcast, and we'll continue on the other side with this one.
To understand that black bodies were the securities and the assets for the United States. I need you to understand that in 1860, if you took all the railroads, this ain't me, Google it. Look up what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you took all the railroads, if you took all the built environments, if you took all the financial institutions, none of that was the value of what enslaved Africans were for this economy. Not our work.
Yes.
I'm talking about the value of our bodies. In the South, 8 out of 10 mortgages, they would actually mortgage our bodies. That 8 out of 10 mortgages that were given were they were backed by black bodies.
I've never known this a day in my
I'm
life.
telling you, I didn't either. I actually found this out from a white man that told me about
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. In addition to that, America never would have been able to even go to the stock market. They built that based on I need you to understand.
Yeah.
They didn't have gold.
Yeah.
They had black gold. They used and created mortgages on black bodies and leveraged the value of our heads, of our bodies, so that they can actually build. We were the securities. And this is about, I'm not saying it's about conjecture.
No,
I'm saying this is a fact.
Finally,
Deep, ain't
somebody
it?
said it.
So what changes? So what changes when we understand slavery not only as a forced labor, but as a financial system in which black bodies themselves were used as assets, mortgages, and collateral? How does that history inform conversations about the racial wealth gap and the reparative justice?
We will never. I'm sorry, it's going to be unpopular. We will never catch up. We will never catch up. That's a fact. Part of it is our fault, right? Because we talked about unity earlier in this conversation. We dislike each other enough, and I am going to give some credit to Lawrence, who talked about us being able to come together, and this should be an in-house thing. That's part of the problem we're having. We don't have those private discussions. It should be like inherent in us to do that, and we don't do that. So that's part of the problem. But on the other hand, because just think about it. If you want to buy a house now, you have to show some kind of collateral. That's just the way you have to do. You have to show whether you got some money in the bank somewhere, where you're going to get the money from. Back then, all they had was human bodies that was going to be help them make money. The problem is now is that it's so far in the past that it's hard for some people to even acknowledge that, even hearing those facts. Matter of fact, I can guarantee you somebody's going to comment on the bottom of that video and say that not exactly, right? Some black folks.
Right.
It's hard for people we don't think of ourselves as other, but the people that did it thought of themselves as other, and the people that are related to them think of it as other. So to answer your question, we will never catch up. What we can do is try to understand the history and figure out how we got there, and try to work together with groups that are working in our community to build that wealth gap. But I'm sorry, Mars, we will never catch up. We will never make this playing ground. It will never be even, ever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look for the catch up part. I don't see that. But how do we move differently, knowing what we know now? How do we move differently? Go ahead, Greg.
What you heard was the establishment of financial institution, and the Civil War and everything that has transpired since has been for the protection of the institution. Racism is about systems and institutions. It's not about people. And because of capitalism, they convince people you got to get as much as you can, you got to do what you should do, and you end up with a Stephen A. Smith. And you end up with someone that has, I'm looking for this amount of money, I'm looking for this price, I'm gonna dance to whatever music you laid out, even when you know the system is rigged against you. That's addiction. That's who we are. We are addicted to fame and attention.
Right.
And we don't want to talk about the hard, ugly truth that the Civil War was about rich people in the South having to share their wealth.
Yeah.
And had to do it when all of the people who were backing those mortgages said, "Oh, we're not going to get involved with slavery. We're not going to back you no more."
Right.
Then what they going to do about their wealth? Right? When
I agree.
look at the people today. We are all crashing. Gas is going to $5. A dozen eggs is $5. What you going to do? You going to go to work or you going to eat?
No, I agree. I'm going to follow that up with another video. I'm going to come back to Lawrence.
They ban our history. They ban our history because
Delete that one out.
I did that again, didn't I?
Yep, delete that one out, and then you can put it in the next.
I got it. Oh man.
by definition is political.
That's right.
Because black people, by definition, are political, right? Our history is political because every story of American greatness, every story of American exceptionalism you want to tell, here we are off to the corner. Say, how do you explain us?
That's right.
If all this is true, why are we here? If all this is true, how do you explain how you suppressed our rights for 350 years? How you bought and sold our ancestors? How you claim to be democratizing Europe, but denying violently democracy for black people here. So we're the most inconvenient people to the story of American exceptionalism.
Right.
So they want to ban our history because we give lie, right? We reveal the lie of this country.
Right.
And we are heroes of that story. So what the research shows is that when you teach black children black history, they do better academically.
Absolutely.
This is not shocking.
That's right. It's right.
Right? If you see yourself in the story, then you have a powerful sense of who you are.
Sure.
And I know, I mean, this is why they ban our history, because once I got a little taste of black history, I became incorrigible as a student. I was challenging everything, right? I would go up in social studies like, where are we? Why aren't you talking about this? What about this, right? And so all of a sudden, you don't just accept the narrative that they give you, and you start to challenge it.
Right.
And you start to have an understanding. So I, because of this class I took at 15 years old with a black educator named Mr. Ray Dow, where he introduced me to Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett, and the year 1619, I became the child who would go on to create 1619 Project.
Wow.
If I don't get that class, I don't create this project.
That's right.
And so they want to ban the class because they don't want more of us.
That's right.
They don't want more Dr. Blacks. They don't want more Nicole Hannah-Jones.
That's right.
They don't
That's right.
want people
That's
who
right.
can help our children know that there is nothing wrong with black folks. There's something wrong with our country.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Incredible. That's Dr. Black and Nicole Hannah-Jones. And man, so this is the question, Lawrence. What would genuine solidarity and accountability look like in the workplaces, schools, media, houses, and worship and government? What would that look like?
You said genuine?
I don't know. I picked the right one for this question. That was intentional, brother.
Hey, you threw that alley up. I'm about to slam dunk it. First of all, we'll never see that because this country is just not genuine in any thoughts that they have, whether it be black bodies, brown bodies, or the female body. They don't have any genuine thoughts. The problem is that we've allowed this corrosion to just fester for so long that we just have a infected country of hate, lies, and denial, and just unaccountability. And that's the problem. We need more Hannah Joneses and so many more out there like that. I had a black social studies teacher that used to make us every weekend. We go home, and then on Monday he wanted us to bring some type of ad from the not ad, but a article from the newspaper, and that takes you how far back I was in school. Take an article from the newspaper and talk about what's happening in the community around you. And he used to, have these sidebar conversations and lessons about Black history. He was a Kappa man and went to Lincoln, the HBCU, same HBCU. I think him and my mother went to college together, if I remember right. One of those few black male figures that you have in your life as a young black man that kind of pushes you forward and makes you want to think differently and do better. And unfortunately, we don't have enough of us like that out there for our daughters and sons to see. And now they're removing our history from the lesson plan. And so there's zero signs of hope. So if as a Black child, all I see is another dead Black body, another relative getting locked up, another, bill that my mother couldn't pay, another mortgage that we couldn't pay, and now we got to move. If I'm constantly seeing the unhappiness in my surroundings and in my family, then I don't have that hope. Where just learning that there was somebody just like me that had that same story and had that same path, and they made it, that might give me a glimmer of hope as a little Black boy growing up in the hood. And so, that's necessary for our development as little Black boys and little Black girls, is to see that positive side of it, right? And so if it's too many of us that don't have that, we don't have that family member that we can look up to. I had the luxury of having beautiful Black women and men, not a lot of men, but more Black women, but some good Black men in my family and outside of my family at church. And that Mr. Larry Lewis out of St. Louis, he was one of the great ones, and he's still doing great things in the community, and still his former students are coming and rallying around him when he was battling cancer and things like that. And so, and actually he is the brother of the actress Miss Jennifer Lewis. So it's knowing these stories and knowing these people that all I have to do is hear it and then I lock in and be like, okay, this ain't too bad. There is another way I can get out of this.
Right.
And unfortunately, we've lost some of that in our development. And it just has to change. So we can't depend on this wonderful nation to do it. We have to do it.
No, we got to do it. And you're right, because like even with me growing up, you had neighbors who had certain careers that even molded me into always challenging myself and doing something that wasn't the normal. When I say not the normal, going after professions, and you all know what I do for a living. So it's like something in my time in the late 90s, middle 90s, when I started to really go after my career, it was where I choose something that was not that popular. And people don't even, to this day, people say, so what are you doing now? What do you do for real? They really don't know in the production business that I'm in. So, but I knew people who told me to challenge those positions that you don't see yourself in. Challenge those that are hiring. Put yourself in a position to go after those jobs. But you need those Black men in your life to be able to give you that type of instruction, or to even give you that type of foresight to see in the distance, like, wow, this is what he was talking about back 10 years ago. But are you going to say something, EB, to that?
I was going to say that part of the problem is we don't know who we are. That's where it starts at. So in order to answer the question that you posed to us about what does that look like, we have an identity crisis, which is harming us. There's a lot of great things, a lot of great ideas in our community, and a lot of great solutions sitting on the table. And a lot of people even mention them to me. And the people that mentioned some of these ideas with me wouldn't put the money and time into those ideas. And it's what's fascinating. I put the money into those ideas, and they walked away and left me holding the bag. So I think a lot of the questions to be answered in some of this unity we want can be found in the fact that we don't know who we are, and until we find out who we are as an individual person and as a culture, we're gonna always struggle. What I can say is, for people like us on this call, there's pockets of people all around the country that are starting to do these things. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it's going to happen, but it's happening in pockets, and that's encouraging to see, as much as I've been seeing in the last 2 years.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm going to pivot a little bit more. This is our last topic. I know Greg usually dips out on us. I don't know how much time you got with us, Greg, but I'm going to pose this question for you.
I'm going to stay to the end this time because my brother's covering for me until I get there.
Oh, we in there tonight. Okay. Okay, so no, we're going to pivot because, I like where we were going with this conversation. We can always come back to these on other episodes, but I think we got a lot out of those couple of comments about our community, the Black community in particular. How do we how you want to say it, criticize one of our own who's done a lot of good things, and and just let them see how it makes not only us look but themselves look when they're putting us down like that. That's in Stephen A. Smith. But we got to also remember with that thumbs down, there was other people involved with that. You had Brendan Carr that's over the FCC. He had a thumbs down. I'm not sure about this other guy, this DuJuan. What is his name? Let me find it here.
DuJuan McCoy.
DuJuan, yeah, I'm not familiar with him as much. And then what do you know about DuJuan McCoy? You guys? I didn't even look him up. I didn't get a chance to. I knew about everyone else, but I didn't. Even when I saw the video, I couldn't make out who that was in the video when they showed him on the screen. And CBS, of course, we know about CBS and what they've been doing. And there was another one at the very end. I can't remember right now. There was another one, but it lets you know that it wasn't just Stephen A. Smith. I want to let people know that there were 5 total people who got the thumbs down, and that they all were people who targeted Black media and those that were representing the Black community in their media. But his next pivot is the question: why the war in Iran matters. And when I say matters, why do it matter to you as an American? I'm going to play this video by Obama, who talked a little bit about the Iran war. Then I'm going to follow it up with a video where the guy's going to give you some facts about this war. Then I'm going to get your takes on the other side.
What I also believed was that the regime was not entirely irrational, that they had a survival instinct, and that when you carry out military force, innocent people die, so we should try to use that as a last resort instead of the first. And we went about trying to negotiate a diplomatic agreement that would get the enriched uranium out of Iran, that would assure that they could not get to a nuclear weapon without us knowing about it, that it was internationally agreed upon, and that there were mechanisms in place to enforce it and verify it. And we pulled it off. Without firing a missile, we got 97% of their enriched uranium out. They were able to maintain a modest civilian nuclear program for energy. And
so you think it was working?
Well, not only did I think it was working, even Israeli intelligence thought it was working. Even our intelligence services thought it was working. So there's no dispute that it worked, and we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz.
I put that out there like that intentionally ahead of the rest of the other video I want to show, because I wanted people to understand what Obama did, why he did it, because there's this back and forth. Well, Obama did this and Trump's doing the same thing, and this is argument back. I want you to hear from him who did it first, and it was successful, and he did it without any war. That was the main thing. And it looks as now we're in a war that's going to give us basically the same thing that Obama had already provided for us. Before I go to this next video, does anybody want to chime in on what was just said from Obama's perspective on the issue with Iran?
I'll wait till you play the next video.
Okay, the next video is going to give us hard facts on this war, in Iran.
Major vulnerabilities of the American military, and I'll just go one by one. But the first is political will, the lack of political will, meaning that the American population is not supportive of this war. Close to 80% of Americans oppose a first strike against Iran, and only about 40% of Americans today still support the military operation against Iran. So that's the first issue. Second issue is the lack of manufacturing capacity. So to fight a modern war, you need to produce a lot of munitions, a lot of missiles, a lot of tanks. And unfortunately, what America chose to do was offshore its manufacturing capacity, its factories, to China. And so that's going to be a major constraint on America's capacity to sustain this war as it drags on. So that's number two. Number three is that America is not willing to sustain casualties, and because it looks bad on TV. And already people are not supportive of this war. So if Americans start arriving back home in body bags, then you can imagine major protests across the nation. So these are the three major constraints on the American military. What I will do now is explain to you why each is problematic. Okay. So the first is the idea of political will. And the reason why political will is important is that in order to win a modern warfare, you have to move towards something called total war. Okay. And what total war is, you structure your entire society to winning the war. Your industry, your culture, your political system all have to be focused on doing whatever it takes to winning the war. So last time America fought a total war was, of course, World War II, and possibly the Korean War. But World War II is a classic example when the entire American industrial base shifted from making cars to making tanks. And that's what you have to do in order to win, because wars take a long time. They take a lot of resources. Your entire population has to be behind it. And unfortunately, Americans grew up watching the Persian Gulf War, 1991, and then the 2003 Iraq War. And these were quick, simple wars that demonstrated America's technological supremacy. It was like a video game. And so the American population is sort of spoiled. It's become indifferent to war and believe that, okay, you know, it's going to cost us a lot of money and it's not moral. And it's terrible that these civilians overseas are going to die, but it's not really our problem. So, in other words, I doubt whether or not the American population is willing to make the sacrifices necessary in order to win this war.
That was deep. That was deep, and because when EB brought the question, why is this important? He named some things there, 3 things there that we should be concerned about.
Well, the first thing that should be a baseline to understand all of this was that even during World War II, the government never told the American people the whole ugly truth about war. Never let them see what was going on over in Europe and across in Germany until toward the end of the war, where you can't hide it because the truth comes to light. And then you find out that the government lied. You had to trick the whole culture to becoming a war machine and demonize the other, whether it was Japanese or the Germans. But they sacrificed hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians just to hold on to secrets that they knew the people would push back on.
Okay, I agree with that. Go ahead, EB.
Iran, Iraq, Venezuela, and Libya. What do they all have in common? Oil. 25 to 50% of the war since 1973 have been with oil countries. Think about that for a minute. So I hear what Obama's saying. Obama's good at dancing. I like him a lot, but he's dancing. This is about Americans' dominance and control over things they know to affect. Everything that last speaker said in that video is true. This government is smart enough to know that everything he's saying is real, right? You got to build tanks to keep fighting. Duh. They had a high-ranking general or something on the other day saying if we got attacked with drones right now, we don't even have the defense capabilities against it. Think about what he's saying. Think about that statement alone. We can't even build enough hardware or software to fight against drones. Yet we are bombing people in another country for what we said was nuclear weapons. Red herring. They're lying. It's about control of oil. What they forgot is those people have nothing to lose. When you went over there in their country, they're saying, thank you very much. Now it's our turn. And this is going to play out longer than the Afghan war because they are getting prestige from beating the United States. Such a small country beating the United States with all their forepower. The only promise we have is that the House is going to change and we can stop this madness, or the president's going to change. But you know what's going to happen? We're going to always be paying higher prices to get our stuff through the Strait. Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he created.
Yeah. As you mentioned the Strait, I got something else for y'all to check out.
All right, now sit down for a minute, because see this right here? This ain't just another headline that you want to scroll past. What's happening around the Strait of Hormuz? See, that's not random. That's pressure. And Iran knows exactly what it's doing. They're basically saying if oil moves through here, it's not going to be paid for in US dollars anymore. It's going to be paid in Chinese yuan. Now listen, that might sound like small talk to some folks, but it's not. It's a big deal. And here's the part that they don't explain to regular Joe Blow folks like me and you. Because if they did, we would start asking better questions than we're asking, right? The United States dollar didn't just become the world's main currency because everybody admired America. No ma'am, no sir. That was arranged. Back in 1971, Nixon printed more money than the gold we could support, mostly to pay for the Vietnam War. So he cut the dollar loose from gold completely. Now that created a problem, because if your money isn't backed by gold anymore, why should the world keep trusting it? So in 1974, same year I came out of high school, the United States made a deal with Saudi Arabia. You sell your oil in US dollars and we'll protect you militarily. And just like that, the system was set, okay? After that, every country that needed oil had to get dollars first. And that's what kept the United States dollar on top. It wasn't just strong, it was necessary. Now bring it back to what's happening today. The Strait of Hormuz is where about 20% of the world's oil passes through every single day. So when that gets disrupted, it doesn't stay over there. It hits everybody. Now Iran is saying, we'll sell the oil, but not in dollars. That right there, that's not a small change. That is a direct hit to the system that's been running for over 50 years. Because now countries like China, India, Japan, South Korea, the ones buying that oil, they don't need dollars the same way anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw this video, and they kind of like, because we had talked about this a couple of months back, the whole thing with BRICS. When they first attacked Iran, I brought this article up during one of our shows, and we were talking about the way that oil is going to be handled and how China is going to create a currency for it. And it's going to be for oil. Right now, everything's done in a petrodollar. So when you want to sell oil, it got to be in that's the dollar format that it goes in. And our banks are collecting that, are getting the interest off of that, which keeps our economy going. Getting back to EB's question, why should Americans be concerned? That's going to affect us here. That's going to affect your investments here, your 401ks, your little bit of everything, things like that. Not only that, how many people may lose jobs, during all this? We've already seen jobs lost. I mean, the numbers have been rising with Black women. It's like 600,000 now since Trump been in office. Black women have lost jobs, these federal jobs. So when I saw that video, it kind of brought me back to those earlier conversations about the dollar, the economy, of how this is going to impact not just the United States, but globally. But the thing about it is that other countries can adapt. We're not going to be able to adapt that quick
because we are so stuck on other things.
We stuck on the dollar.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Plastic, polyester, anything that we make everything in plastic, right? We haven't got away from plastic enough in this country, right? So anything that is affected by plastic, polyester, and fertilizer and all that stuff is driven by fossil fuels.
Motor oil,
everything. Diesel. You got to drive the truck that takes more diesel to move a refrigeration truck, right?
Pharmaceuticals.
Everything is affected. You think that hurts those people in Iran and Iraq? I got news for you. They've learned how to live without that stuff. We are the go to the doctor and get me a pill society in a plastic bottle, right? We're going to hurt. Now, I will say this, based on what I'm studying, we're not going to feel that right now, so some of us don't even understand it. But the prices of food have changed 27% since 2019, right? It's going to go up higher. and we're gonna feel this next year and be thinking it's the new president or whoever it is in office, but it really was. It's gonna go back to this system we're in right now.
I got a question for you all. Other than Greg, because Greg was the only one probably alive during the Vietnam War, correct?
I was.
Yeah. What about you, EB?
I was born in '67, so I don't know.
You was in there.
You was an elementary school guy.
Yeah, I was born in '69, and when did the war actually end? Do you all know?
1972.
72. So it was around. So they was still fighting when I was born. Okay, I thought it was over before I was born. But the question I have is that I knew a lot of people was against that war. After that, have you guys ever found yourselves supporting a war and really didn't know all the details? I give you my example first, which was when we had the war in Iraq. I was initially, not really for it, but then I became a supporter of it. And the reason why I became a supporter of it, I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I wasn't a supporter because I believed in what was going on. I thought it was garbage of this mass destruction, weapons of mass destruction. But I thought that if we didn't support it, it would make us weak. When I say weak is the fact that we didn't want to be a target by other countries. That was my thinking then. And so as I look at every war since the Iraq war, well, actually going back to Kuwait, but the Iraq war, every war since then, I have not seen any altercation that we have. I've not seen a reason for us to invade or go into anything. And I look back over that time, I was like, man, I was supportive of this, like being this American. Oh, we're going to go do this because they're doing that. Then it turned around where I was like, well, if we don't fight, then we're weak. And now I look at this thing with Iran, it puts me back to the same mindset of how do you approach it as a American citizen? How do you just continue to push back? Because we pushed back in Vietnam and we didn't get anything out of it when we pushed back. We're pushing back now in Iran. What are the American people getting out of it pushing back? And I'm not saying this because I'm conflicted. I know exactly how I feel about this Iran war. What I'm saying is that I'm asking the question is, what are we getting supporting or pushing back? We get nothing.
That's when you talk about the Vietnamese War, you need to premise it with saying the United States picked up a war that was already happening and thought they could do it better.
Got you.
France and Vietnam were at war, Dien Bien Phu.
Yeah.
And as they failed, United States, John F. Kennedy, all of them, we'll come help y'all out. We'll come help y'all out. They invented the Gulf of Tonkin incident so that we can move American forces over there and airstrikes just to support. But we couldn't win that war, and they didn't know that as soon as the American public got to see it in the news, thank you, Huntley and Brinkley, Walter Cronkite, all of them. See, you got hooked because you kept looking to see if it was your son or your nephew that was getting shot up as they brought these images back. And that's what fueled the fight against Vietnam.
Got you.
By 1972, they had been into it. They had implemented the draft. I was afraid because I graduated in 73 and 72 they stopped, but my number could have been called if it had gone another year.
Yeah, my dad was there. He was in the Navy though, but he was in Vietnam. And then my wife's uncle, he was on the ground fighting in the Army during Vietnam. And they did a documentary on his unit. The History Channel did a story on them. Had interviewed him and everything of the stuff. Man, the stuff that they saw during that time was ridiculous. But getting back to why does it matter to us now, or what does matter to us about this? How do we approach it from a standpoint of the United States is in it? how do we? What's our move? Do we? If we're pushing back, what is our pushback? Like, how do American people push back, or do you stick in it and
no
say
mechanisms to do that with?
So do you stick with it and support what's happening?
You can't support it. You got to get Trump out of office.
You got to get the House changed.
You got to get the House changed so that we can get the people who know how to do the job back on at the helm.
Yeah, cut the funding, and then
if you can't steer the ship, it doesn't matter who's on the ship. If you can't steer it,
will that stop the war?
You can cut the funding. You can cut the funding. Once the funding is cut, that's it. That's over with, and they can be forced.
It's a similar situation when Obama took over. He was handed a war that he didn't start.
Right.
So it's that delicate. How do we end?
Exactly.
How do we put this fire out? and it's so many layers to it.
What Joe Biden did say, get out. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, but even that was ugly and messy.
Yeah,
right.
It's gonna be
right.
So there's no good way to finish this. You know, the thing is, finish it, right? At this point, I don't care how it's done. How many more years do we have of this guy?
2 more.
Okay.
Well, with that being said, how do you? Okay, with that being said, you know, getting him out, you know, change of administration and all that. We just mentioned about the issues, the 3 major factors of the issue that we have with this war. One of them is supplies, you know, equipment. So if that's going to become a shortage, and we go in and maneuver to stop this war, does that make us vulnerable of an attack from someone?
We already
else?
vulnerable. I mean,
no, more vulnerable is what I'm saying.
Well, Lawrence is still working, and I'm still working, and I can answer the question. I'm sure you can answer it. How many people that's scheduled to work come to work every day where you work? Let's say how many miss every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's been going on the country for the last 10 years, which means manufacturing ability is down everywhere,
Definitely.
even at my wife's place where she worked.
Yeah.
That is the case, and it's been the case for a long time. So guess what? We were short of weapons before we started the war.
Right.
There's no doubt in my mind about that. And we're going to continue to be short of all of the resources if this keeps up. That's why now, if you notice, more and more excuses to stop the war starting to come from the people around him. But they trying to find legitimate reasons that makes them legitimate. But the thing is that there's not enough products being made to take care of our family and households. It's not enough to be for a war either.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's a shaky thing. I mean, it's something that, you know, I don't think any of us really want this. It was completely unnecessary. It was unnecessary. Yeah. And everything since this idiot showed up has been completely unnecessary. And whoever, and I pray for whoever comes and takes this after this nightmare is over with, if the nightmare ever ends. At this point, there's so many things that you have to go back and just start over. Like the thought of democracy and free and fair elections and all that has been thrown out the window. It's almost like you have to rebuild what's torn down.
And I'm good for that. I want to see it be rebuilt. I mean rebuilt.
But hey, we don't know who. Hey, it's almost like yeah, we don't know who that person is and what type of radical, you know, decisions that they make.
But we know one thing: we ain't going back.
Well,
I mean,
you gotta hold everybody accountable.
I mean, the reason why I say that, because you see everything that's happening now with politics and removing history, you know, the gerrymandering, removing your voting rights in certain places and all that. You think about that, these things have happened, but we ain't went back yet. And that ain't happening. And so when we look at redoing it all, building it back up, there can be effective ways of doing that, because especially when you get this dude out of office now, and you could take back the House and the Senate and the White House, you can start implementing some changes. The only difference is, will the Democratic Party act right? When I say act right, we know what happened when Harris was in there There was all this bickering if she should do it or not. And I'm not saying she should run again. I'm not even saying that. Whoever it is in office, I don't care who's running. It could be a man, woman, white, black. I don't care. Is it going to be any type of unity there? Because right now they're talking about the Democratic Socialists, then they're talking about who's a real Democrat, who's a socialist. That's no different than Republican and
that's right.
You know, you got to be unified. And without that unity, you're going to have chaos. And if they decide to take over the House, the Senate, and the White House again, those things have to be in place. And they have to know that now, not when they're at the gate ready to run for a presidency. You got to know that now.
This version of the Republican Party is a dying animal. And with a dying animal, those things, they're going to bite and scratch and claw whoever comes near it. And my thing is, as much as I know, okay, in 2 years we got another election, and now we got, you know, all the congressional elections and everything is coming up. I don't put it past if there's some way that they have been figuring out a way to alter these elections. I have and on top of that, remember my take a few weeks ago, America is stupid. And I just have zero, I've lost all faith. And I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but there is a great escape of black and brown people that are like, you know, forget this place. I'm going to Mexico. I'm going to Australia. I'm going. I got enough money saved up, or I got this online job. I don't need this $150,000 a year job. I can take this customer service job and do it remotely, or go over to a foreign country and teach English. You know, and make, you know, $40,000 a year, and that's the equivalent of $100,000 a year in some of these places. So a lot of people just like gave up. I have low key given up. So at the end of the day, I'm still going to do my part. I'm still going to, you know, go and vote. I'm still going to encourage others to vote. I'm still going to talk to my children about voting. But at the end of the day, I would not be shocked if one day it was by a landslide that, you know, Democrats came and took over. But some way, somehow, this magical button was pushed, and all of a sudden,
I agree.
Blue states that have been blue and looked like it was going to be blue is all of a sudden red. Red states that were about to turn blue, all of a sudden, it's like, no, it's super red now. Like it just wouldn't
like
shock
Texas.
Those things happen. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right in that. And I mean, I don't think many people have that faith in it. But one thing why change is going to be needed, because like it should be like over halfway now of Project 2025 is almost implemented. So even with a new regime, you're not going to get that change right away. This is going to be like 10 years ahead. I mean, the catch up to change these things. So it's not going to be. We want to see we don't want to see any more progression of what's happening currently with the Trump administration. We want to see something different. But I'm going to make this give you something to think about right quick. And we're going to be wrapping up really soon. But I got this video that kind of caught my attention. I don't even know how I got in my algorithm, where it came. I mean, I know how I got in my algorithm, but I don't even know where this particular person video got in my timeline. This was off of my Instagram. But give me your thoughts on this.
We know he's being God and he no longer can be here. In honor of his legacy, we're not rioting, God. We're not shaming anybody, God. We're just humbling ourselves before you. Yes, Lord. You brought the thunder and rain today, God, because Satan takes the L today. Father, in Jesus' name, you get the victory. Father, we ask for forgiveness from our black brothers and sisters for years and years of racism, of systematic racism.
I saw that and I was like, wow, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've heard people say, you know, God forgive us for our sins of racism and slavery in a sermon, like just a quick one-liner. I've never seen a group of white people praying at an event for forgiveness for racism directed toward black people. I'm not sure where that was at. I got to find the video again.
I can tell you by looking at that brick wall, that had to be here.
In Cleveland?
There had to be. Nobody paints their brick walls the same color. So This should not surprise us. Let me tell you why. It's the Bible. So this is, and I'm not gonna go into this because this could be a whole conversation with me, guys. Y'all, it's not. I don't have a popular thought about this, this biblical Christian thing. So I'm just gonna keep that narrow. Based on the belief of Christianity, this should have been happening 400 years ago. So we shouldn't even be surprised. The fact that we are surprised that it's happening tells us the psyche of what's happened to us. They shouldn't even be called Christians based on the definition of it and not be okay and not ask for forgiveness. I used to always say, I am shocked at how many times Black people forgive people that killed their Black sons and not have the white people ask for forgiveness that supported the white cop. I'm shocked. Based on the Christian definition, that should have been going on a long time ago. And so I'm going to say something on the positive side. I have not met demonist white people that treat me unfair. I've not met those people. I've always worked with people that have had very good hearts and done great things. I'm not saying they don't out there. I haven't met them. So I would like to believe that there's more people out there like we just saw on the tape than what we're seeing of what we've seen in the past.
Okay, so I did do some research, and that was good, Evie. Thank you. I did read some. This is a little bit after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is after the death, but I'm not sure where these people were from. They say they were praying, ask God for forgiveness, and it doesn't show what city. It doesn't show what city, but I had never seen anything like that in my life. I'm looking for more videos on this because it caught me. It just really caught me off guard. It kind of gave me that moment of like, wow, there are some people with a good heart and genuine heart. Not saying there aren't people with good hearts, but a Christian community with the way we've seen the church respond under Donald Trump, his supporters in the church, how they've responded over the last, say, 10 years, to see this group of people. It doesn't show what political side of the aisle they were on. All you saw these people praying, asking God for forgiveness for how Black people have been treated in our country. And it just, I don't know, it just did something to me. What's y'all opinion about this video, seeing this?
I mean, oh, Lord. Okay. All right. It's great. It's a good thing. Yes, I'm glad they did that. But it's that and. The and is the next time you see or hear of something happening to somebody down the street from you on the news, what steps do you take?
Right.
That was great. I really appreciate it. But what steps do you take when it is time to stand there for your brother and sister that don't look like you? What steps are you taking to your children to explain to them why certain things that happen in this society are problematic and this is the new way to do things? What do you do when you're faced with that opportunity to be there, to be an ally, a real ally? Some people, they ally by just typing some things on the internet and then they move on. I mean, a real ally. Like that officer that was on George Floyd's neck, I'd probably be in jail too, but I wouldn't stand there and watch.
Right.
There's no way I'm standing there to watch.
That's right.
There's no way that if I saw a Black woman or a white woman or any woman being accosted by anybody of color that I stand there and record and watch or just watch. Like, right. There is something inside of the animal world that the human world just hasn't picked up on. When you have a pack, when you have a family of animals that they're doing life together, they're surviving, they're hunting, they're doing things together. In this world, we're all the same animal. We're all humans. We're all mankind. We all should be protecting and helping one another. Unfortunately, we're not like that. It's about me, and forget you.
Yeah.
And as we drive past so many homeless people every day and so many other things that we see every day that somebody should and could help, but we don't. So I appreciate the gesture, but I just want to know that you are having these hard conversations because you got an uncle or an aunt or a grandparent that don't think like you right now.
Yeah.
That on Christmas and Thanksgiving, they say some problematic things that you just laugh at and move on. You may not feel that way, but you don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation. It's what you do outside of the camera.
True. Well, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that these people did make a difference. I found some more context on this video. This was from 2020. These people were praying. A group of people were praying before a group of Black Christians. This was in Houston, Texas, by the way. The gathering was organized by Christian rapper Bobby Trey Herring at his multiracial prayer group, Pray Test, in a collaboration with Pastor Johnny Gentry of Free Indeed Church. During the prayer, white attendees knelt before Black attendees with one man stating, "Father God, we ask for forgiveness for our Black brothers and sisters for sins and years of racism." The Black community responded by joining the white attendees in prayer, marking the moment of a shared repentance of solidarity. Following the incident, the Pray Test movement grew beyond Houston, with Herring reporting that similar prayers were being organized in cities such as Austin, Livingston, Charlotte, and as part of a nationwide response to Black Lives Matter protests. The video, initially shared by local reporter Natalie He, garnered over 100,000 shares on Facebook and was widely covered by the international news outlets as a powerful example of interracial reconciliation. I got a caveat there. Check this out. If you guys hear the little piece I just said at the end, you never seen this video, right?
100,000 in this market is bad.
No. You never seen this video, right?
No, right.
Never heard of this situation. I live in Texas and I ain't hear about it.
Yeah.
I got people in Houston. I never heard about it. The thing that caught my attention in this right here, like I said, I'm just sharing this. We're all going through this together for the first time. It said the video initially shared by local reporter, that was a reporter here, Natalie He. The video garnered over 100,000 shares on Facebook and was widely covered by international news outlets. That they were the ones reporting on this. We skipped it. Goes back to our earlier conversations about the media. You know how when it comes to a Black situation, how it's covered up, slipped up under the rug. The media does this, and I was reading through that, and that just when I read it, it just popped out like, wow. And this thing, like I said, is spread to other cities. Never heard that about.
And remember, you asked me earlier. I think you used the word genuine.
Right.
Hey, no lies detected here for me.
Well, I have to come with a balanced perspective. I gotta. I think y'all know where I'm at, but it's just I gotta come from that perspective because when I'm sitting down and going over some of these things, or I see the chats that we're talking about, I tend to look up some of the people who think opposite to try to get a feel for where that's coming from. And that's how I because the questions I ask, it gives you a look like, wow, why am I asking that stupid question? It's not that it's stupid. It's just that we have an audience outside of just us, and that I want them to think about what we're talking, like just make it penetrate. So I got to have that counter question to make it think about the other side and how they think. When I said genuine, we know that's not going to happen with everybody. But then I pull this video up. There's a group of people that's trying to be genuine.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, I think that human beings are good people. I think that the society around them, people are just wimpy.
Yeah.
They can't stand up to what's wrong. There's numerous, and I forget it. I forget how many. There's numerous times where I saw a Black kid or a Black person doing something against somebody that was not Black that I didn't like, and I said something about it. I don't remember those instances because I don't have to. It's like it's my natural ability to say, "Hey, don't do that. Hey, excuse me. Hey, let me grab that door." I think that when you have to think of that, that tells me who you are.
Yeah.
It should not matter whether they're
It shouldn't.
capped. It should not whether they're black, white, or gay. I've seen people treat gay people in a way that I thought was so ridiculous. I wanted to punch them in the face.
Yeah.
So I've done the overly nice thing just to let them know that hey,
Yeah.
everybody doesn't feel that way about you. So
Yeah.
I think that I would love to think, and I think based on my experiences, most people are not like that. They just join the pack. They're scared to say something.
Safe.
That's
It's
what makes them
safer.
all look guilty.
It's safer for them that way.
I mean,
have you all
even the nonsense that's happening up here, Lamar? Like, you know, we got, you know, our brown from India or Pakistan, these brown families that we have here that, you know, we got town halls happening in Frisco and McKinney and Prosper complaining that there are tax-paying people here buying real estate and just being natural humans and buying houses and sending their kids to school and going grocery shopping. They're mad.
Well, they're building that complex. It's the one in McKinney. Yeah.
Like
it's a Muslim campus, basically.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy, and I just don't understand it. But you know,
they never threatened my. I've been threatened. I've been threatened by white people more than any other. I mean, literally threatened by white people more than anybody else. I've had fights with black people, but I've never had nobody like make me feel like my life was threatened. I'm not saying it don't exist because we know it do. I've never been threatened by anybody from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Have friends. I've never had anybody threaten me from China.
Yeah.
North Korea. None of these places but I've been threatened by. But I ran into the Klan in North Carolina. Okay. So all I got to say is that, hey, if it wasn't for my big family down there who knew people, and they knew who my people was, I was left alone. This was in 1994. So I'll bring that story up another time because it's deep. But to know that, and I'm not saying that I've been approached by a lot of white people. What I'm saying is that the time I thought my life could have been in danger like that was from a white person who had the entitlement to want to threaten me. And so it is close to my heart when I had these discussions about racism. And when you're saying about right here in our, you know, the stuff we saw with Carmelo Anthony right here in town, whether he was innocent or guilty, the vitriol that went amongst the people was insane. But before we move on, we got about 3-4 more minutes. I want to talk to you guys. But before we move on, do you guys want to recap anything that we've talked about already?
No.
Okay, we've got to lighten it up a little bit, right? Starting with Lawrence. If your life had an entrance song every time you walked into the room, what song would it be?
Surprisingly, it's not Tupac. It is. This has been my song for a few years now. I'm on a New Level by A$AP Ferg.
There you go. I like that. What about you, EB?
Oh my gosh, I remember Melba Moore's song. What's on the other side of the rainbow?
What's on the other side of the rainbow? That would be your walk in. Okay.
That's my walk in.
Okay. I like that. Mine would be the Craig track. Tell the world. I can't remember the lyrics, but you know, it's like basically tell the world about your relationship with God, basically. You know, tell them that you're saved, you know, and when I walk into a room, that's what I want my walk in to speak. So I want you to see the reflection of Jesus in me when I walk in the room.
Yeah.
Number 2. Starting with you, EB. What is one food combination you love that other people will probably judge?
Wow. Man. Oh wow. Oh, you know what? I like cornbread and spaghetti.
Oh wow. What? But you know what though? That's common though. People do make cornbread when they make spaghetti. At least up in the Midwest they do.
I like cornbread and spaghetti.
Yeah. I didn't expect that one.
Hold on. Since we all Midwesterns, now these Southerners down here, my wife and some others, they think it's weird Now, spaghetti, it is a side, not a main dish, correct?
It depends.
No, it's a main dish.
It depends.
See,
It
in St.
depends.
Louis, it can be both. It can be both.
Yeah.
It can be both. It
Go
can
to
be
a soul
just
food
a meal.
restaurant, it's
But-
a side. You go
but
to an
it's not-
Italian restaurant, it's a main.
It's a
Right, but it's not weird just to have it with catfish, spaghetti.
No,
and
no.
salad.
No, that's all
Yeah.
good.
Actually, that's my
Some
favorite
people think
combination.
Right,
Fish,
right. Spaghetti and
fish,
catfish.
spaghetti, and
Thank you,
cornbread.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, all right. I just want to get that out there.
No, I mean spaghetti.
It can't be a main meal. I've made it, and that's the main meal. But it's also
Right.
a side. And most people think, no, it's a main meal. What are you getting? What else do you eat with
Right.
that?
I mean, it's like, we do a lot of combinations in the Midwest. We put a little
Yes.
bit of everything together.
Yes.
But if you were to go to someone's house, they say we having spaghetti,
Mm-hmm.
it's the main dish.
Yes.
Lasagna, oh, we have a lasagna today, it's the main dish. Now you
Mhm.
might have a salad with it, but if you go to a soul food cookout or a barbecue,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Spaghetti, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, coleslaw, it's a side
Yep.
dish.
Baked beans.
Baked beans, right.
Whatever.
It's a side dish. It's all, it's all part of
I
it.
like to hear what Lauren's combination is.
Yeah, what's your combination, Lauren?
See, I don't really have a bunch of weird stuff. I think probably the weirdest thing that I do, and this was based out of poverty, poverty and poor planning from my father. We didn't have bread one day, and my mother was out of town on business, and so he was like, "I'm gonna make dinner." And I guess he realized we didn't have bread and stuff like that. So me and my brothers, we come up to the table, and there's cups with spoons in them sitting there. And I'm just like, so I lean over and I look in it, and he done took peanut butter and jelly and put it in the cup and mixed it up. and and that was our dinner. And so to this day, every now and then, I just feel like it. And I would sit there and I would take a couple tablespoons of jelly and some peanut butter, and I mix it up in the cup, and I just sit there and I just lick on that spoon and have me a glass of milk.
Oh gosh!
And I try to get my daughters to do it, and they be like, "What is wrong with you?"
Oh wow, that's good. That's good. I got two actually when I was thinking of making these up because I'm trying to figure out which one is the best one. And people have done, well, one of these people have done, but some people be like, ugh. But those who tried it like it. It's cornbread and milk. Y'all ever had cornbread and milk?
My father used to take a cornbread and buttermilk.
Okay, see, I don't like the buttermilk. I just use regular milk. But my dad's family, they all did it with buttermilk.
Okay.
When I was little, I didn't like the taste. So my grandmother would put buttermilk, and that was like cereal in the morning because they had cornbread the night before. So you get, and they ain't talking about no Jiffy mix. We talking about cornbread. So you get the cornbread, you heat it up, microwave in the oven or whatever, get it kind of soft, and you crumble it up. And I put sugar on mine, some sugar and milk.
Yeah,
Man.
I've never seen that.
I'm telling you, bro, try it. I promise you like it.
All right.
So I'm telling you, this.
I'm gonna have my peanut butter and jelly on the side just in case.
Right, just in case. But the other one was like we do like beans a lot at home, and we do like a 15 bean soup or pinto beans. And I guess this is because I've been in Texas and they put tortilla chips and everything. I will crush tortilla chips up in my beans and eat my beans with it instead of cornbread or something with it. I crush the tortilla chips in it. So
That's definitely Texas, bro.
yeah, man. So, but anyway, yeah. So, this is the last one right here. If you could spend 1 year living in any television or movie universe, which one are you choosing, and would you actually survive there?
Oh, yeah. I don't.
Me, it'll be Cosby Show, different world. Just drop me off in there. Just drop me off in there. It's full of black and brown excellence, happiness.
I like that.
Joy. You know, it's a great place.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna steal that too. I think he's right.
Okay.
Because that's black excellence. That's a good statement. Yeah.
Man, I always wanted to be Speed Racer, man. And it's the car, it's the gadgets, but he was the hero. And you know what I'm saying? It was just he just was a cool looking cat, you know what I'm saying? Speed Racer. So if I was in that Speed Racer world, They say, would I survive? I would say definitely, because my car had all the gadgets. You know, I could climb walls, I could float on water, I could spray oil out the back. You know, so I was cool. But Speed Racer, I would love to be in a Speed Racer universe, and be that hero. Go ahead.
Quick story. When I was young, we didn't always have the combination of peanut butter and jelly. Sometimes all you had was jelly. Sometimes you always had just only peanut butter. And it was 6 of us. It was rough, right? So of course, all of my siblings, we all have a pretty decent life. So in my prayer room in my house, I have a whole prayer room. There is an empty jar of jelly sitting in the prayer room. And I do that as a memorization of what I've been through and how grateful I am. And I do that every morning anyway, but I am grateful for the things that I've been able to get past, right? I wouldn't say poor. I don't want to use that word. I'll say there wasn't a lot of means. Right? My mom and dad had split up, so there wasn't a lot of means. But I will say that I've grown to appreciate having choices. And if it's one thing in my house, and it probably drove my wife crazy, is I don't like to run out of stuff. Right? I don't like to open up my refrigerator and expect something to be there and it's not there. That drives me nuts because it reminds me of what it was like when I was a kid. And so I have done everything I can to make sure, whether I have to work extra hours or get a promotion or go back to school, to make sure that I don't have to live that anymore. And a part of the way I'm doing to remember that is being able to have that in my room to remind me.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Y'all, I'm sure y'all had water with y'all milk, y'all cereal when you ran out of milk.
Watered down milk, carnation milk. Watered down carnation.
I had that too. When the carnation milk ran out, we just had straight water.
I didn't do that. I just ate it dry.
I've done that too. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was like a couple years back. I had poured a bowl of cereal and realized there wasn't no milk. And I went and poured the water in there myself.
No, done with that. Done with that life.
Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all, man. I gotta run.
Eat. Hold on,
brothers.
Okay.
Always good to see y'all. Start my week. Y'all guys, take care.
Take care now. It was a great show and great some progress. Y'all take care now.